following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
A transgender pedophile arrested for raping a baby may have also sexually abused the infant's younger siblings, new court records reveal. Disturbing new details have emerged in the horrific case of a trans-identified male babysitter accused of sexually assaulting a baby in Tacoma, Washington. I feel like, who trusted this individual to babysit their children? Like, remove the word transgender from this entirely for a second. If this individual posing as a human being was like, hello, I'm here to babysit your kids, I'd be like, the restaurant we were gonna go to flooded, actually. So we can't go to our dinner date tonight. We don't need your services anymore. Thank you, bye. Is that blowbacks? Jesus Christ. Additional charges have been filed against William Kelso Florney IV. What kind of a fucking name is that? Oh my god! They got all the way to the 4th, and this guy was just like, I'ma shit on this entire bloodline. Fuck you. Holy shit. Wasn't Kelso the name of a guy in like that 70s show as well? Sounds like a made-up name and gender. It sounds like it would be like a villain's name in an off-brand Final Fantasy JRPG. Additional charges have been filed against William Kelso Florney IV, who also uses the name Isabel, because of course he does. After it was revealed that he may have also sexually abused the infant's siblings, who appear to have been taught to refer to Flournoy as a woman. As previously reported by Redux, Flournoy was first charged with first-degree rape of a child and sexual exploitation of a minor in March, after Tacoma police received a Priority 1 level cyber tip from Google. The tip had flagged a photo uploaded through one of Google's services described as depicting an adult man on his knees with a small infant in front of him. The man, whose face was not visible in the photo, the strength it must take to like write this shit and not like lose your mind is insane. Like, I struggle even saying it, man. The man whose face was not visible in the photo was penetrating the infant girl. I don't want to finish the sentence. You get the idea. Detectives identified Flournoy as the male in the photo using both an IP address associated with the cyber tip and by comparing identifying physical features noted from the child sexual abuse image. A detective confirmed that Flournoy had 2 distinct moles on his hands, which had been clearly visible in the photo. While in custody, detectives were able to locate the infant victim's family by monitoring Flournoy's jail phone calls. At one point, Flournoy called who would later be identified as the mother of the victim to admit he had been arrested for sending something that I shouldn't have. I don't think that's what we call rape. What? Is there something bigger than a wood chipper? I think we need something smaller. Can we somehow put him through like the world's slowest paper shredder, except instead of a paper shredder, it shreds humans? Can we do that? I feel like feet first, that would be great. Investigators later connected the number Flournoy called to an active CPS investigation and located the victim's family using Flournoy's social media. Once the victim's parents were contacted, police were able to confirm it was their 4-month-old, 4 months, what the fuck, baby daughter in the photo by showing them a series of censored child abuse images taken from Flournoy's devices. It already is like incomprehensible to me why and how anyone would desire to do something so horrific to any child. And then I think about when it says like 4 months old, and it's just like, that is a barely sentient like human flesh. Like it can't do anything. It can't speak. It can't move. Like what? Why? What? What is wrong with these people things? I call them people out of exasperation, but I know they're not.
Nazi?
Sometimes you just lack words to articulate, because it's like, this person never should have been around kids in the first place. Like, I don't, how did the parents think that this was okay? It's not like they could have even, like, an older child, you would notice, like, a change in demeanor, or a change in, like, how they're interacting, a change in, like, just them in general. But, like, when it's 4 months old, like, there's no way you could even tell. The victim's father told investigators that both he and the child's mother had been working 2 jobs to make ends meet in 2023, when the incident is said to have occurred. He claimed that the struggling family, which was living in a motel at the time, had known Flournoy well.
Bad idea.
And had invited him and his partner to move in and help babysit the children while they worked. You live in a simulation where normal people are working 2 jobs to afford a motel room. So they have to bring in disturbed freaks who will rape their children while they're working, and half of their paychecks are going to supporting foreign families. You are literally living in a sci-fi dystopia hellscape. That is your life. At the time of the initial arrest, Flournoy was already under investigation after being accused in a separate case of possessing and dealing child sexual abuse material. Why the fuck? Why was he out? What? Why, at the time of the arrest, he was already under investigation for other child sexual abuse material? First of all, one, why was he out in order to offend again? What fucking judge allowed him to not be in jail? What are we doing? Secondly, if he was already under investigation for possessing and dealing child sexual abuse material, what the fuck do you mean by you knew Flournoy well, you fucking retard? Documents related to that case state that the files found on Flournoy's Google account included what investigators described as voyeuristic-style photos of clothed females aged 12 to 18, and video of Flournoy masturbating on the steps of a homeless shelter for youth in Tacoma. Why would you do that? Why? What possesses someone to do that? I don't fucking understand. In total, there were 6 other cyber tip reports associated with his digital accounts. Earlier this year, police stated that they intended to conduct interviews with the other children that had been present in the residence when Flournoy had been tasked with babysitting, both of whom are the infant victim's siblings. Those interviews are now complete, and Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Ivy Rose Kramer has updated the charges against Flournoy to include child molestation in the first degree. According to Supplemental Declaration for Determination of Probable Cause filed on June 16th, Kramer noted that a sexually abusive photo had been found in Flournoy's possession depicting the infant victim's sibling. I gotta meter myself reading this article. How many times is this pattern repeated? Leftist activists in robes allowing every manner of criminal free to prey on innocents? They must be purged at all costs. This must become an open political platform position in a campaign. It does. It needs to be. And yet, for some reason, we still have geriatric fuckwits being like, how about that amnesty? How about we amnesty? No, you might have been able to sell amnesty 15 years ago to some retards. No longer. No amnesty. They all must go. That is literally what everyone has been saying. So the fact that there are still some Republican politicians that are just like, hello, fellow conservatives. How about some amnesty for these families? No. Shut the fuck up, you Democrat in disguise, or you retard taking bad advice from an advisor. Stop it. The girl, who would have been just 3 years old at the time the image was taken, was photographed with her shirt pulled up and her bottom half naked. During her forensic interview, the girl, now 6 years old, disclosed multiple instances of sexual abuse by Flournoy. The child revealed that Flournoy had... I think the parents should also be held accountable here. Like, this is just vile. There's no way that you have this freak molesting all 3 of your children and you don't know it's going on. These parents at a bare fucking minimum need their children removed from their care. And in an ideal situation, they would also be charged with fucking neglect. Because what the fuck? Internet Zen Master, thank you. It's gonna get worse because the Dem socialist mayor of Seattle, not even a year, and she's ruined it for the far past the 2020 mess, except for a Chaz 2.0, is inviting all trans refugees nationwide to move there. Yeah, whenever I see this stuff, I just remember, like, that Worcester City Council meeting wanting to make Worcester, a trans sanctuary city as well. And it's just, like, these... Again, I hate, like, calling this thing transgender, but that's what it calls itself. And it's like, this is not a person with dysphoria. This is a man with a fetish who is using the fact that people can't criticize transgender people without losing their jobs or being fucking unpersoned and canceled. He's using this in order to, like, get off scot-free for doing heinous things. If this was a guy who was just, like, a straight white male without the transgender veneer, he would be absolutely getting, like, multiple life sentences for this. Dude is just an AGP. Yeah, he's just an autogynephiliac, and more people need to start calling that out. It is in the best interest of these people to keep ruining your lives when you point out how they're either ideological or fetishist activists. But that's what they are. And these people make everyone think that just the regular dysphorics are all like this, and that is just not the case. The child revealed that Flournoy had peed in her mouth while at a playground, and that the bodily fluid had made her ill, sending Flournoy into an apparent rage. Victim referred to Flournoy's private parts as his long thing and yaya. Victim also mentioned a time where Flournoy urinated on her tummy. Victim described Flournoy urinating out of his long thing and mentioned it being yellow. I noticed that Victim went from being very hyper and jumping around to much more reserved while telling the story. Reads the forensic interviewer's report. When asked about her feelings toward Flournoy, the child described him as kind, beautiful, I love her so much, will be on her side forever, using feminine pronouns for him and referring to him as her aunt. Redacted said something about Flournoy doing illegal things on top of a slide, trying to help her baby sister down, and then mentioned something about a bathroom and Flournoy peeing in her mouth. Redacted said she got sick because of the pee in her mouth and added that Flournoy was mad at her. Redacted also mentioned Flournoy went crazy. When the interviewer asked Redacted more details about Flournoy peeing in her mouth, Redacted explained that Flournoy was standing on a platform of some sort while they were at a park. Flournoy reportedly told Redacted to open her mouth, and Flournoy then urinated in Redacted's mouth. Redacted mentioned people seeing Flournoy at the park and Flournoy pulling his pants down and pulling out his private parts. What kind of a fucking park can you go to where in full view of other people you can whip out your dick and piss in a toddler's mouth? What the fuck is happening in Washington? What the fuck am I reading? Why would nobody stop that? I remember my more innocent years when I was just saying, haha, isn't it weird that European countries have sex parks? Where after 5 p.m. you can have sex in the park because all the kids are gone by then. Haha, that's weird, silly Europeans. Fuck me! It's likely too afraid to be called transphobic, but that's still not an excuse. Much like all of the police in all of our Western countries being too afraid of being called racist to actually do their fucking jobs! The pedo park. That is just astounding to me. They mentioned other people seeing him do this, and no one did anything! It should be known that through my training and experience, I have noticed that children can confuse urine with ejaculation and vice versa. I mean, understandably so, because they shouldn't know what fucking ejaculate is! So it's like that brings into question, like, I don't think it necessarily matters whether it's piss or ejaculate. Either of them, like, what are you fucking doing? Like, both of them are egregious. During the girl's interview, she also disclosed that she had seen Flournoy physically assault her brother. Oh, yeah, there's the progressivism, equal opportunity molester. Something that was confirmed by the boy during a separate forensic interview. The boy, who would have been approximately 5 years old at the time of the incidents, disclosed that Flournoy had aggressively kicked him and touched his genitals with his mouth. This disgusting creature wearing human flesh. Whatever I say will get me banned. Holy fuck. Like, the things that should happen to this individual. Like, what is wrong with him? Time to bring back medieval executions. I would love that. As previously reported by Redux, Flournoy claimed to be a youth advocate on his Facebook profile. And he operated multiple social media accounts under the name Isabel. I'm going to be immediately suspicious anytime I see youth advocate on anyone's profile from this moment forward. That is now a tainted term. Congratulations. On X, Flournoy followed multiple transgender pornography accounts, as well as engaged with radicalized pornography that fetishized themes of white inferiority and the Black New World Order. This could have been one of the guys posting that shit at me. Holy fuck. Who the hell calls themselves a youth advocate? Oh no, he's a BBC loon too. They always are, aren't they? We've crossed the Rubicon. Dude got one shot by 4chan. It's actually disgusting. What the fuck? You're sensing a theme here? I'm sensing a theme. It reminds me of, like, last year when I was dealing with all of that. Oh, she presented a Real Game award to Barrett. Oh, there's an artist she follows that sometimes draws interracial porn. She loves the BBC. I unironically had accounts, like, flooding my DMs with, like, AI-generated blacked porn. And I'm like, who's actually into the BBC? You who's generating this shit? Or me who's just like, why the fuck are you sending this to me? Porn-addicted, brain-dead freaks. I don't care what artists you follow. The artist who apparently did interracial, I followed them for the way they draw feet. Because when I follow an artist, it's an artist I would like to commission to have stuff for either stream or merchandising. And I already have a feet pics emote. We need more feet. I need an under-the-table Apple Bapple's foot job artwork, man. Same kind of people who post CP on Chibi reviews. Yeah. I mean, obviously that's worse. That's, like, actually illegal. But, like, fucked up. When the Tacoma Police Department searched Flournoy's place of residence, officers found that he was in possession of a baby's binky, of course he was, a stuffed animal, and a child's character plastic drinking cup. The investigator noted in his report that it appears Flournoy is interested in infantilism. Age play is disgusting, and I have always been absolutely revolted when adults wear pacifiers. I don't care if it's like a VTuber. I don't care if it's a flesh tuber. I don't care if it's someone high on Molly at a rave and they're using the binky to not grind their teeth. I think it's fucking weird. Flournoy previously volunteered with the Youth Action Board, a youth-led group connected to the Reach Center in Tacoma that provides input on issues affecting young people experiencing homelessness and housing instability. Local media reports covering Flournoy's arrest referred to him using she/her pronouns. Of course they did. Flournoy is currently booked as a male inmate in the Pierce County Jail, but police reports included his alias as a white female. Can you imagine if, like, before we understood what multiple personality disorder was, if police were just, like, booking crazy disordered people as, like, well, this is a white male, but his aliases are a white female and a black transgender male. He's also got a Hispanic woman personality. Like, could you imagine that? Like, what the fuck? If convicted, Flournoy would likely benefit from Washington State's extremely lenient prison gender self-identification policies, which have seen multiple men convicted of sexual violence against women or children moved into the state's only female prison. Disgusting. Disgusting. It's like the only thing you can fucking say. Like, this individual and the fact that he still breathes is an indictment upon our society. So, I saw this. I'm not really sure what is going on here. Someone said, meanwhile, over at the Gonclave's Facebook page, I asked a question that had been bothering me for some time, and their response. He said, will the Gonclave's family agree this time to be interviewed by the prosecution's investigators and provide a victimology statement? It was stated in open court before Judge John Judge 7 months after the murders that the Gonclave's family had declined to be interviewed by prosecution investigators, a position they reportedly maintained even before retaining attorney Shannon Gray. Based on the information presented in court, it also does not appear that they agreed to participate in a victimology interview. Which is very weird, right? Like, why would you not? And some other people commented, like, that's funny. Do you think that would have been allowed if it was absolutely necessary? We talked to investigators daily for months, is the Gonclave's family page responding. Someone else saying, I hope he does appeal and blow the case open. That way we know the truth. It's not about Kohberger, it's about getting justice for, and I think those are the initials of the people who were murdered. Say their names, but they only added the initials, so I can't remember all their names. Judge John Judge. Yeah, it's a funny name. But once Kohberger was arrested, they allegedly filed restraining orders against law enforcement. That's kind of weird. Same family had the gall to tell people that Bryan's attorney blocked them from visiting him in prison. There's a fucking no contact order signed by the judge that disallows any contact between Bryan and the victim's family members. All they have to do is file a motion to withdraw the no contact order if they really wanted to visit him and talk to him. They're liars constantly. And someone that's blacked out said, I will never understand, why did this happen? Why did he choose these 4 kids? That's a question I guess will never be answered, and should be. If I was the parent, I would be visiting him in jail, looking right into his eyes and demanding an answer why he did this. He's sickening to the stomach. I think about Kaylee and those kids a lot. They were beautiful and good-looking kids. They looked like they were full of life. I'm so glad they made those videos and took pictures of all their fun times of their lives with family and friends. May they all rest in peace. Continued thoughts and prayers for their family always. The Gonclave's family responded, we can't visit him in prison. His attorneys will not allow it. Which this person is calling out as there's a no contact order that the families can ask to have dropped. So it's like, I don't know. Just a little weird Facebook messages. I don't know if these people are schizophrenic. I have no idea what's happening. Evil. He's evil. Bryan Kohberger says he wants to revoke his guilty plea a year after he admitted to murdering 4 Idaho students after claiming that new evidence exonerates him. Idaho college killer Bryan Kohberger has petitioned to revoke his guilty plea and is demanding to stand trial after he previously admitted to slaughtering 4 students. The 31-year-old, who is serving 4 consecutive life sentences, revealed his decision to file the petition in an interview with the New York Times, and claimed he had an absolute claim of innocence. My actual innocence is my truth, and the plea, hinged on by false promises and blatant disinformation, must be withdrawn. Kohberger pleaded guilty to the November 2022 murders of University of Idaho students Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonclaves, both 21, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, both 20, last July. He was sentenced to life without parole. Though Kohberger admitted responsibility for the killings as a part of a plea deal that spared him the death penalty, he has never publicly explained why he targeted the 4 friends. I also thought it was very fucking weird that he just pled guilty. Like, when I think back to, like, reading all of what had happened at the time, it's still very weird to me that 2 of the people ordered DoorDash and then supposedly immediately fell asleep after the DoorDash. He came in after the DoorDash, managed to go through a house he had never been in before, kill 4 people on different floors of the house inside that he had never been to before. Very efficiently. It was like under 14 minutes to kill 4 people. And then, like, why did he spare the lives of some of the other ones? That also doesn't make sense. Some of this was just very fucking weird to me. And it was incredibly disappointing that he was like, yeah, I'm just gonna plead guilty, no trial, we're not gonna talk about it, nobody's gonna get any answers. He declined to comment on specifics about the alleged evidence that he says will exonerate him, the Times reported. He also reportedly refused to talk about the concerns he has surrounding the plea process. Like, he could just be making shit up, but this whole case was really fucking weird. Mogen, Kernodle, Gonclaves, and Chapin were found stabbed to death on November 13th, 2022 in a rented off-campus house in the small rural town of Moscow. Oh yeah, that's right. They also put the house up for demolition immediately after this. So, like, there's no house anymore. Prosecutors say that Kohberger, who was masked, snuck into the home and brutally murdered the students. Idaho Attorney General Raul Labrador called Kohberger's U-turn deeply painful for the victims' families and said he was standing by them. A spokesperson for the Gonclaves family called Kohberger the mosquito you just can't seem to swat. The spokesperson added Kohberger appeared in court for a hearing before a judge accompanied by his 4 lawyers. He chose not to leave his fate or the facts of a case to a jury. He never cried foul, never claimed he was uninformed or pressured. He even admitted guilt. The spokesperson added that they wished Kohberger had been given a death penalty trial and suggested he now wants more attention. Which is possible. He could just be a psychopath wanting more attention. Do I think he was the setup/fall guy? I have no idea. I have quite literally no idea what happened in this case. I can't even, like, tinfoil something because it's so weird. And there's not really enough evidence, and he refused to speak prior to now, I guess. Kohberger, a graduate student in criminology at nearby Washington State University, Reminder that he did post on Reddit with a post asking, like, if you were to commit murder, how would you get away with it? Was arrested in Pennsylvania, where his parents lived, roughly 6 weeks later. A Q-tip from the garbage at his parents' house and genetic genealogy were used to match Kohberger's DNA to material recovered from a knife sheath found at the home. They also used surveillance camera footage to help locate a white sedan that was seen repeatedly driving past the home on the night of the killings. Cell phone location data also showed that Kohberger had been in the neighborhood multiple times before the attack. Kohberger's attorneys got the trial moved to Boise after expressing concerns that the court would not be able to find enough unbiased jurors in Moscow. It's really a shame that the entire house got demolished as well. And it makes me think, like, when I first started looking into this case, one of my streams, I found, like, I don't know if it was a Zillow listing, but there was some online listing of this house that had a full 3D walkthrough of every single room. And at the time, there were, like, some people claiming that there was something to do with, like, ceiling fans involved, but, like, there weren't ceiling fans visible in the rooms. There was a car. No blood or DNA was found in Kohberger's white Hyundai Elantra after his arrest. Damn, that shit dirty. In exchange for Kohberger admitting guilt and waiving his right to an appeal, prosecutors agreed to not seek his execution. Both sides recommend that he serve 4 consecutive life sentences without parole. After his arrest in December 2022, Kohberger's initial court-appointed lawyer said that the murder was eager to be exonerated. The defense spent more than 2 years challenging the evidence against him before accepting the surprise plea deal just weeks before he was set to go to trial. Yeah, that's also kind of fucking weird, right? Him and his lawyer saying that he's eager to be exonerated, saying that they're gonna fight the charge, and then all of a sudden they're just like, well, actually, we're just gonna take a plea deal. Let's get the fuck out. Kohberger acknowledged he committed the willful, unlawful, deliberate murder of the victims with premeditation and malice aforethought as part of his agreement, but it didn't force him to provide a narrative or say why he did it. It's unclear why Kohberger killed the 4 students and spared 2 roommates who were at home at the time. Investigators also never found a connection between Kohberger, the 4 victims, or the 2 surviving roommates. Judge Stephen Hippler suggested in court that he too wanted to know why Kohberger did it, but he cautioned against continuing to wonder. What a weird fucking thing to say. Once again, I know I said that back when he said it originally, but then also, one of the surviving roommates kept changing their testimony. I can't remember which one it was, but one of them, like, told a different story every time they were interviewed, and they could not keep it straight. And it's like, maybe they're just like a fucking alcohol, brain-riddled, damaged retard that genuinely couldn't keep a story straight. But it's also really suspicious. By continuing to focus on why, we continue to give Kohberger a relevance. We give him agency and we give him power, the judge said at the defendant's sentencing. Or we maybe find out what happened? The need to know what is inherently not understandable makes us dependent upon the defendant to provide us with a reason, and that gives him the spotlight, the attention, and the power he appears to crave. I watched this? What? Didn't the programmers end their program by saying Kohberger took his own life in prison? What? I don't remember that. What the fuck? How do we know it's not understandable if we don't investigate? Yeah, like everything about this case is just weird as fuck. Like, completely fucking weird. Brian Enton saw the pics of the hairs found in Ethan Chapin's hand that do not belong to Bryan Kohberger.
He had to file this affidavit by September if he wanted to, have the right to do some kind of appeal going forward. So in the back of my mind, I was keeping a lookout for it. Did I actually think he was going to do it? I mean, no. And here we are, not an official appeal, but basically he's trying to start the process. He wrote that he was convinced to falsely confess to capital murder, essentially throwing his attorney under the bus, Ann Taylor, saying he got bad advice, that she scared him and his family about what it would be like on death row, and said that this was the best legal option even though he did not want to do it. And this is interesting. Like, he also talks about clumps of unknown hair found in Ethan Chapin's hands. And I know a little bit about that because I've actually seen the photos. I don't know that I would describe them as clumps, but there were hairs in Ethan Chapin's hands that did not test back with DNA back to Bryan Kohberger.
This could be, right? It could be that Ethan Chapin was fighting with whoever actually murdered him and not Bryan. However, wasn't Ethan dating one of the girls who was there? So it could also just be that he's a hair puller during sex. and he happened to have some of her hair on his hand still when he got murderated. So, like, that hair thing, while suspicious, doesn't necessarily mean anything for the case.
Overall, and you mentioned, I mean, first of all, he confessed. He confessed in court. He pled guilty. And there's just been so much evidence against the guy. We're covering it from the beginning. The cell phone records, his DNA on the knife sheath used to commit the murders. So there's a lot of evidence here to overcome, but nonetheless, it seems he's going to try to appeal with it. All right, Bryan, hang with us here, as I mentioned.
That's a bit of a stretch. I don't think it's a bit of a stretch at all. If you're dating someone and if you're laying in their bed, even if we don't like entertain like he maybe had been pulling her hair, he's gonna have her hair on him. He's gonna get it on him. If anyone here has had a girlfriend, your girlfriend's hair gets on fucking everything. So it's not like a leap of the imagination. It's not even like tinfoil to be like that hair could have belonged to her and not like a different murderer. You don't pull people's hair out when hair pulling, it's tugging. Yeah, sometimes it comes out, though. Sometimes it happens. I've had my hair pulled quite a lot, chat. I know what I'm talking about. Like, you don't pull it hard enough to purposefully pull it out, but sometimes it just happens. Sometimes it just happens. In a clump? This guy literally just said he saw the photo and it's not a clump. He literally just told you it's not a clump of hair, that there just was loose hair in Ethan's hand. Guy with long hair can't confirm, hair everywhere all the time. Yeah. Her hair gets on the couch, the bed, the teeth. The hair's gonna form a noose around your penis and crank it in the middle of the night, and you're gonna wake up in pain. The expert hair puller over here. That's what the whole thing with eating poppy seeds can show up on opiate test even 18 hours after having a poppy seed bagel. Not identical, but a similar case. Yeah. Like, it could be that Ethan has the hair of his actual murderer in his hand, and it's not Bryan Kohberger. They said it didn't test back. It wasn't Bryan Kohberger's hair. So it could be, he's correct, it could be a different person. Could point to a different person possibly being the murderer. However, since Ethan was dating one of the girls at this house and they were sleeping in the same bed, I'm pretty sure those were the two who got the DoorDash, it could just be her hair. It could just be that girl's hair. I don't remember which girl it was. Bryan Kohberger, here's his motion. It will fail, but due to U.S. versus Garza, he gets to take a shot. Affidavit of facts in support of post-conviction petition. State of Idaho, County of Ada. Bryan Kohberger, dude, his handwriting looks so fucking similar to mine. This is horrifying. Bryan Kohberger, being first duly sworn on oath, deposes and says, "It is hereby declared that during attorney-client discussions, most of which included all members of Bryan C. Kohberger's immediate family, petitioner was convinced to falsely confess to capital murder and felony burglary by coercion, disinformation, false promises, and the withholding of exculpatory discovery. The following is material to the inception of the plea. What the fuck is that word? Counsel's failure to inform petitioner of exculpatory discovery. Exculpatory. There we go. I fucked up the pronunciation. Discovery received during plea discussions, namely clumps of unknown hair found in Ethan Chapin's hands, as well as a failure to further inquiry. 2, petitioner was convinced that actual guilt was not an important factor in considering plea acceptance. Death row was imminent and advised to lie. Petitioner was to gain a legal victory in entering a false plea. 3, a gross misinterpretation of and promises regarding what a life sentence would immediately afford petitioner, and a gross misrepresentation of death row in Idaho, including an elaborate fabricated story of counsel's horrific experience touring an actual 6x8 death row cell, all communicated to petitioner and his family, allegedly by IDOC, through counsel, thus constituting threats and promises made to induce a plea agreement. And signed, Bryan Kohberger, certification under penalty of perjury, signed again, July 22nd, 2026. Why did his dumbass write this out by hand? This looks like a madman's ravings. I don't think he has access to computers in prison, bro. Comment from Steve Gonclaves, "We're not scared of it. I always stood by the work of the FBI agent. If he wants to fight for the death penalty, that's exactly what we'll go for. There's so much evidence against him in this case, so we're not scared of a trial, not one bit." Additional comment from Idaho Attorney General Raul Labrador, 3 of his office's attorneys worked on the Bryan Kohberger Idaho 4 prosecution. Actual innocence is my truth. Bryan Kohberger wants to rescind a guilty plea. Almost 13 months after he pleaded guilty, damn, it's been that long, Bryan Kohberger claims he's innocent and says he will fight his conviction for murdering 4 University of Idaho students. From a New York Times report published Monday, Kohberger provided a statement and interview for the first time since he was sentenced to 4 consecutive life terms in prison in July 2025, and dating to when he was arrested on suspicion of the murders in December 2022. He has spent just over a year in segregated lockup at Idaho's maximum security prison south of Boise. My actual innocence is my truth. I hate the my truth, man. Stop it. Stop with the call me nonsense. And the plea, hinged on by false promises and blatant disinformation, must be withdrawn. Kohberger said in a statement to the newspaper Sunday night. The Idaho Statesman has reached out to Kohberger regarding his hope to recant his conviction. On Monday, a new civil case for post-conviction relief from Kohberger posted to the state's Record Records website. Why do I keep saying records as records? Like, I know they're spelled the same way, but holy fuck. His handwritten filings included one in support of appointment of legal counsel. In response to what relief he seeks in one of the filings, the 31-year-old wrote a withdrawal of a guilty plea, according to his petition and affidavit obtained by the Statesman. He wrote in the petition that during his attorney-client discussions, he was convinced to falsely confess to capital murder and felony burglary. By coercion, disinformation, and false promises and the withholding of exculpatory discovery. He was convinced that actual guilt was not an important factor in his plea deal, as he could have faced the death penalty, he wrote, and was advised to lie. The Statesman has reached out to lead defense attorney Ann Taylor for comment. Boise-based defense attorney Edwina Elcox said in a phone interview that she doesn't think the petition for relief is going to go very far. Proving his team of attorneys were ineffective is a hard threshold to overcome. Well, considering he had 4, yeah. It just seems to be an incredulous claim to me, Elcox added. As a part of his plea deal last summer, Kohberger accepted no chance of parole and waived his appeal rights in exchange for avoiding a possible death sentence if he took his capital murder case to trial. Hold on, wait a minute, chat, my brain! In all of these other cases, whenever it's like a clear-cut, hey, there's a ton of evidence, there's DNA evidence, we have all of this shit, this guy, basically, like, there's no one else who could have done this. The defense attorney is always like, my client is innocent, I will do everything to get my client off, my client deserves to have freedom once again. And all of us are just like, that's fucked up. This is why we hate lawyers. Kohberger's lawyers are all just like, yeah, this isn't gonna go anywhere. This guy's fucked. Just throw him under the jail, actually. Why are all of the people who worked on his case not acting like all of the people who work on cases for those who actually are like dead to rights murderers? That's a question I have now. Because it just occurred to me like how angry we typically get at the defense attorneys. You know why? I don't know why. They wanted it out of sight, out of mind ASAP, I guess. Is it because all of his attorneys were women? I haven't seen a man's name yet. Like all prisoners, he maintains the right to ask a court for a post-conviction relief, an appeal action that cannot be signed away, including on potential arguments that he received inadequate legal representation during his original prosecution. At a change of plea hearing in early July 2025, Kohberger endorsed his public defenders under oath in court before Judge Stephen Hippler of Idaho's 4th Judicial District in Ada County, acknowledging that the legal team led by Taylor had performed to his satisfaction. But a U.S. Supreme Court decision in 2019, Garza versus Idaho, affirmed that a defendant can always appeal on certain Sixth Amendment grounds, regardless of whether they previously agreed to waive those rights. Which I think is a good thing, right? Because if you are an American citizen, and if you think that your lawyers are working well for you, but then you find out your lawyers had either misconstrued things or lied to you, you absolutely should get a chance to prove that that is what happened, right? People get fucked over all the time. Kohberger also signed a guilty plea advisory, a plea agreement, and a written factual basis connected to the deal he accepted from prosecutors that saw him sentenced to the rest of his life in prison. Taylor also told the court that she consented to her client's entry of his guilty plea. I want to make sure that your plea is given voluntarily, Hippler told Kohberger in court last summer. And I want to make sure that you actually committed the crimes to which you're pleading guilty, because I don't want you to plead guilty to a crime you didn't commit. Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? The judge asked Kohberger at the hearing before twice reading the specific murder charge tied to each of the 4 victims. Yes, Kohberger responded. The development of Kohberger's would-be appeal suggests that what is likely the most high-profile criminal case in Idaho's history might not be over. Now approaching 4 years since the U of I students were found fatally stabbed in their off-campus Moscow home in November 2022. The 4 victims were seniors Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonclaves, both 21, junior Zaina Kernodal, and freshman Ethan Chapin, both 20. The Lada County Prosecutor's Office declined to comment Monday, citing pending litigation. Moscow Police Chief Anthony Dollinger also declined to comment. The Idaho State Police didn't immediately respond for a request to comment. My heart goes out to the families of Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan, who have already endured unimaginable loss and now must face today's deeply painful news. Idaho Attorney General Raul Labrador said in a statement to the Statesman, "My office stands ready to do whatever is necessary to ensure justice is fully carried out." I have a question. Kohberger enters this thing to be heard. If it comes out that for some reason he in fact did not do this, it does not seem like anyone is willing to accept that. The families don't seem like they would accept a different murderer. The attorneys on both sides don't seem to care. The judge doesn't seem like they would accept another murderer because they said, stop asking questions, essentially. We don't need to know. So, if in a hypothetical situation, Kohberger somehow has some kind of evidence that will prove that he was not the one who did it, where do we go from there?
We just don't know.
That's the problem with reasonable doubt. Jurors go, if not you, then who? Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know how they DNA tested the hair in Ethan's hand, but that hair did not belong to Bryan Kohberger. So whose hair is it? Should we not find that out? Should we not have questions be solved? I don't know. You're about to say, depending on the new evidence that comes out in the trial, it might change things based on the new evidence? Yeah. Yeah, like, this could just be some spurg trying to get more attention because he gets off on it. But it's also like, in the case that he actually has some kind of new evidence and his lawyers did misconstrue things to him, he thought they were being honest with him and then found out, wait, they actually weren't honest with me, what the fuck? Right? Like, what happens if that actually is the case? Per an article, the hair appears to be likely the victim's own hair. Okay, hold on. There were no appeals. How is Kohberger essentially appealing? Could it work? Elcox particularly pointed to one of Kohberger's claims in the filing that his attorneys failed to inform him about a supposed clump of unknown hair found in Ethan Chapin's hand, something that seemed unlikely to her. It was one of dozens of samples that were examined by investigators microscopically according to a lab report from the FBI. None of the samples matched Kohberger's hair, but one of the defense's own experts, Cy Ray, wrote in a report that the hair was morphologically consistent with Chapin's own hair. If there really was a bombshell piece of evidence, Kohberger's attorneys would have chased it down and vetted it, Elcox said. She noted that some people might try to frame this as exculpatory evidence, but she doesn't agree with it at all. Okay, well, if this guy, he was for the defense as well, and he's saying that, I don't know what morphologically consistent means, but if he's saying it was consistent with Ethan's own hair, then Bryan doesn't really have a smoking gun, and he might just be a smug asshole. Depending on the new evidence that ends up exonerating, maybe the family will also want justice to finding the real murderer too. I mean, maybe, but it's like, will they accept it? Everyone seems to have just been like, yeah, this is the guy, let's not ask questions, let's not think about things, he's just the guy, let's move on. But it's like, if he's trying to do this, and if, hypothetically, it comes out that there is some kind of evidence that was missed and he was lied to, it feels like the people would not accept that, right? I think he's just enjoying dragging it out. It could be. He could be enjoying dragging it out. He could be that kind of fucking malicious asshole. If he's innocent, it makes you wonder if they know who did it and are scared of the truth getting out because the real killer is someone higher profile with power. I would think it would be one of the other people in the house, actually, instead of somebody high profile. You don't understand why they didn't run DNA from the hair against the victim's own hair? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. If morphologically consistent just means looks like, I don't know why they wouldn't have tested it. They didn't bother doing DNA analysis on the hair, just looks similar. They did DNA analysis to test it against Bryan Kohberger, but I guess they didn't test it against anyone else for some reason. Already, Kohberger's case has cost taxpayers more than $8 million. Of that total, nearly $5.5 million covered the expense of his public defense. That's crazy. That is insanity. What the fuck? Under Idaho law, defendant must seek post-conviction relief within a year of a 42-day clock expiring from the deadline to file a direct appeal of their own conviction. In Kohberger's case, his post-conviction relief petition deadline is the first week of September this year. Why am I breaking my silence? Kohberger told the New York Times by phone. A lot went wrong in those plea discussions. I really do want that to be heard. Merely filing a notice to appeal does not itself violate the terms of a plea agreement. The U.S. Supreme Court said in the 2019 case out of Idaho, but Kohberger's effort to reopen his criminal case could jeopardize the current sentence and restore the chance of the death penalty or even the possibility of a federal case at which capital punishment could also be back on the table. Notice that nearly 100% of Christians' reply guys are low-follower, random name, bunch of numbers accounts with anime profile pics and join dates in the last 6 months. He gets instant floods of likes from these types, but no engagement from real humans. Almost like he's buying clicks. Keep that in mind, that this guy has accused Christian of botting/buying his likes. Christian said, "You are truly retarded if you think I'm buying likes on this platform. This is about the 25th time you've alleged that your critics are all bot farms from foreign countries. You can look at my follower list and find out who follows me. If you're so paranoid that you've constantly been getting ratioed by bots, I can even show you the likes of said ratios and point out numerous people who I know and in many cases have spoken to. All of this is a pathetic attempt to sidestep the criticism and reframe the debate into something, anything, that can distract you from the fact that you have no solution for dealing with the left. That's it. It's literally that simple." And instead of even positing a solution for the left that he might have, he responds with, "Meanwhile, this is what Christian's follower list looks like." And he posts a room of like anime posters and figures and dakimakuras. And so of course, I have to remind him, anime profile pics are the indigenous peoples of the internet. And I'm glad the Ceiling Kirsche guy responded, because I didn't even know that this Phil guy responded to me, because he said, "Go back to Tumblr," and then immediately blocked me. So I had no idea he even responded. I thought he just read it and then blocked me, but no, he read it, told me to go back to Tumblr because he has no idea who the fuck he's talking to. He has no idea who the fuck anyone he's talking to is. He's just a fucking weird ass communist apparently. Because working on an update where we look at Karl Marx's citation patterns after the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917 in multiple language groups. Our original paper focused on English. Here are the results updated with the new 2024 Google Books corpus. Am I supposed to think that this guy is like against Marx? Why is this your pinned tweet? What are you doing? Who are you? What is this? I just think that's really funny. And I think what's even funnier is, let me see if I can find any of the other replies. It says, "The retard that blocks anybody that pushes back, weak-minded idiot." There's like a bunch of people in his replies and in my replies pointing out that they're all blocked. "I've joined your ranks by having the controlled opposition loser block me for pointing out he acts like a child. He called me a sock account because he doesn't like criticism. And it seems the one claiming a post that disagrees with him has botted likes, uses block bots and chains for everyone that follows Kier." And this was what I wanted to point out. This account here, it's one that follows me. It says, "I don't know who this even is," and they're blocked. And Creature blocked me too. This is another person who follows me. This guy also got blocked. So he's accusing Christian of botting likes while he uses a bot list to block people who follow me. After he blocked me for saying something true about anime profile pics being the indigenous people of the internet. I'm like, maybe this guy isn't a communist. Maybe he's trying to be anti-communist and showing something here, but he's certainly acting like a leftist freak. God, what a candy ass. Maybe if he didn't block literally everyone, he'd get more likes. Maybe, dude. Holy shit. Until then, I just block them on site. "I support the remigration of all the creepy anime weirdos on the site back to their original habitat of Tumblr. Until then, I just block them on site." This guy thinks that there could be any sort of right wing without anime profile pic creatures. That's cute of him. That's cute. Let's go back to 2016 and see who helped get Trump elected. It wasn't just the Amish, buddy. Let's go back to 2015 and see who the left was freaking out about. Oh, it's always an anime profile pic who's a heckin' bigot voting for the orange man Lebad.
The screamers and the crazy people on the alt-right, as they call it, who love Donald Trump, who have plenty of Hitler iconography in their Twitter icons and
they
things.
Sure do. I can back
Donald
that
Trump
up.
is the greatest thing. Oh, it's something. But the fact of the matter is, most of them are childless single men who masturbate to anime. They're not real political players.
There could be anime profile pics here. Absolutely insanity. The lefty containment was Tumblr. Yeah, insanity. He probably hasn't blocked Christian because he knows that he can, like, fucking farm engagement. And so he sees Christian as, like, a useful anime profile pic person that he can leech off of. You follow me and you're not blocked yet? Oh boy. But it's like, he clearly is using something, because how are these people who have never posted anywhere in his periphery getting randomly blocked? Like, what the fuck? I was pre-blocked. That's wild. Like who? What? You're a VTuber who never had a Tumblr. I also never had a Tumblr. Let's be real, it was mostly the Amish delivering the news on their buggies. The Amish used their Bankai. They call all the anime profile pic conservatives Russian bots and got them banned for saying learn to code. I think he's just that mad online that he's manually blocking people that think he's goofy. I guess it could be, but it looks like he's using some sort of like block list. Because again, unless these people have engaged with him somewhere previously, it doesn't make any sense. Like at least this SLTF guy, he actually interacted and got a block. But these other people, they didn't even interact. They're like, I don't even know who this guy is. Why am I blocked? The only people you've blocked on Twitter are the bot women scams. I've definitely blocked a handful of people on Twitter, but it's only like, all right, you have surpassed the line of annoyance, and I'm tired of just allowing someone to spread lies or malicious information otherwise below my posts. That face when you're not blocked by every commie, pinko, or socialist.